Welcome to the Kindness Project, the podcast designed to share stories of kindness and share how kindness can make positive change in our world, one small act at a time.
In this week's episode of the Kindness Project, we talk about identity theft, bookshelves, and we have part 3 of our interview with Emmanuel Asuquo.
Welcome to another episode of the Kindness Project. I am joined by a man who is slowly but surely, piece by piece, bit by bit, trying to steal my identity, and a girl who is I aspire to identify with. It's Charlotte Dames and the identity stealer, Russell. Trying to be Chris.
I totally disagree.
What do you disagree with?
My style is unique to me.
Tell us about your style, Russ.
It's similar to your style.
Similar? Oh.
In every point, other than the fact that I'm wearing it.
So you've copied. I mean, it never used to be your style, did it, Russ?
No,
Until recently, when suddenly it turned into my style. When did that happen?
Hold on. You could argue that you're such an inspiration to me that I just want to be more like you.
That is very nice of you to say, Russ. I appreciate it. I wish I could pull off a beanie like Charlotte, though. Charlotte's beanie wearing capabilities are amazing.
Yeah, because you've got a hot head, Russ. I just realised I've left my wardrobes open because you guys can see what I keep in my cupboards.
Well, that's all right, because we'll copy your wardrobe next week as well. We'll all be wearing oversized tops and beanies.
There's a lot to be said about oversized tops, though. They're very comfortable.
They are incredibly comfortable.
Well, you know what? And it's clearly not something I'd wear in public. But for Christmas, what are they called? Are they called goodies? Charlotte?
Goodies.
Now those big, huh?
No,
what are those big jumpers with the hoods called?
Schnuddies.
Schnuddy. They're like
Oh yeah, I've seen them. Schnuddies, yeah.
Yeah, very comfortable. Very warm, very comfortable.
These are what we call dressing gowns at home.
Yeah, but there are outdoor clothes and there are indoor clothes, aren't there? There are outdoor clothes that Russ sees what I'm wearing and then wears, and then indoors he wears his big caftan thing that he feels comfortable with. That is, you can't see this, podcast listeners, but I've got somebody behind me. Would you like to say hello to the podcast listeners, Soph?
Hello, podcast listeners.
Why did you do it in that voice?
I did.
Okay, fair enough. Charlotte, tell us what you've been up to.
Getting back into the swing of things with uni, reading a lot of the material that's going to be on my courses. So I've got like a pile of I organised them this weekend, so it's not a pile anymore, it's neatly put away. I know, I reorganised all of my bookshelves.
You live such an exciting student life, Charlotte.
God, it's so good.
Reorganising your bookshelves and
basically student life, though, isn't it? All you do is sit down and read books and go out and enjoy yourself.
I don't really do the other part.
You're not really doing that. Yeah. Are you going
I find the enjoyment in here with my books.
Have you not found
No, you are allowed to go out every now and again, Charlotte. I'd like you to do that.
No, I went out.
Have you not found more social groups, Charlotte?
Yeah, but I'm not really a social person, am I? I'm just
Fair enough.
Yeah, like
I know.
Right, tell us about the social groups you are part of. Quiz night? You still going to quiz night?
Still going to quiz night. I've developed a little friend group in me English tutorials.
Oh, nice. Who are they? Who's in your English tutorial?
No, because I'm not doing names.
All right, okay.
Public
Keep your
podcast.
names to yourself, as this is a public podcast.
I made a friend in my journalism tutorial.
Oh, you made a friend. Right.
It was really interesting, that the journalism tutorial, because it was like, here's all the things about creating news features and stuff like that, and then it was like, here's what you do if someone threatens you when you publish an article.
Have we ever been threatened on the podcast, Russ?
No.
Yeah, we haven't.
What do you do if somebody threatens you when you publish an article?
You tell your editor you publish it anyway, because you've got to have integrity.
Right. So if somebody's doing something wrong, and you're doing an investigative piece,
Mm.
the idea is you don't, and they threaten you. You go, okay, thank you for that threat. I'm going to tell my editor, and
No,
then you
you,
publish
you
it
say
anyway.
whatever you have to say to get out of their immediate environment. Be like, yeah, I won't publish it. It's fine. I won't do it. And then you tell your editor, and they have a duty to protect you if you do publish it. So
Fair enough.
yeah.
Who's going to be your first target? Is it a badge of honour for journalism to get a threat or what?
I think so.
Yeah, fair enough. Go on, Russ. What was your question?
I wonder how often that happens, that they get threatened.
Oh, I don't know.
No, probably not.
Get threatened with lawsuits, mustn't they, and all that jazz all the time.
Yeah, but if you're like, I think
actual threats, I don't suppose that happens often.
Can I ask you a question, Charlotte?
Yeah.
If somebody was trying to slowly, step by step, steal your own personal identity and brand,
right.
First starting with picking your brains, like you've been kind enough to share your intellectual capital, your knowledge. You even paid him to.
I'm going back to 1990s jumpers.
And then suddenly he turns up one day in a really smart looking outfit. And you go, he looks good. He looks familiar, but he looks good. Right? And then suddenly...
When I'm down for the book launch, I'm going to come in one of them 90s t-shirts. You know, I was here.
Oh, you know what you should wear? You know what you should wear? You should either wear...
1988 or something like that.
Well, do you remember them T-shirts that you used to... I can't still know the name of them. I'll ask her in a minute. Do you remember those T-shirts where you they changed colour when you applied heat? What were they called? They were like a no, not a heat-changing shirts. They had a name, didn't they? Cassie, what was the name? Oh, they were amazing. They were like bright colours, and then they changed.
Yeah.
Was it? Was it? No, it wasn't wet, was it? I can't remember.
You can get swimsuits that change colour when you go into water in them.
Really?
Yeah.
What are they called?
I don't know. Just keep getting ads for them recently, just on me.
They do cups where when you fill it with hot water, it shows a different picture, don't they?
You had one of them, didn't you?
Yeah, and then I put it in the dishwasher.
You don't do that. You don't do that. So what I want you to do, Russ, Reebok Classics, if you're going proper 90s, you need to get a pair of them. Stonewalsh jeans.
I'm gonna go full hog.
Feeler. That's it. Feeler tracksuit. No. You know what they did? We've just come back from a dance class that Sophie's attended to.
Yeah.
And they had a Michael Jackson song. Now, knowing how much of a Michael Jackson fan you were in the 80s and 90s, which you were, they had they had the song "Scream" that Michael Jackson did with his sister Janet. Why don't you come to the book launch in fancy dress as Michael Jackson?
I could do Thriller, couldn't I?
Thriller, perfect.
Thriller.
Audience, you can't see that, but
no, right. Charlotte.
There was a dance accompanying that.
Yeah, can you do that dance again for us? I mean, the podcast listen.
Yeah.
Hey Russ, unrelated question. Could I get the recording of this episode afterwards? Thank you.
Well.
Hold on. I've got a recording of Chris rapping about Chris that I've still not used yet.
So,
I'm storing that up just in case it gets Larry one day.
Right. So I'm having quite a lot of fun at the minute with artificial intelligence, right?
That's right.
And
what have you done?
We've got a piece of software we've got access to that we can ask questions of, and it gives us particular answers. Charlotte, are you checking your phone halfway through a podcast? Because it'd be really annoying if you are.
I'm not. I'm just like scribbling because my hand.
Don't do that. Focus on the podcast recording, please.
Hey?
He's writing down notes.
Right. Now we're back on track, and we're all three hosts are actually engaged in the podcast process of recording the podcast. Let's do it. So, AI. I decided to just give the AI a challenge and went, "Can you write a rap about Chris Dames?"
And it did.
And it did.
Oh no.
It,
I'll,
it
I'll,
did.
I'll send you a copy of the video, Charlotte.
Don't. No, that cannot be
Russ?
in the public domain at all.
No,
That
public
cannot be-
domain, but you know, public domain is a bit different than my personal
Yeah,
files.
privately, we can share it between us.
Can I trust you never to share it ever again? Can you make me that commitment right now?
Pinky, which one is it? I don't remember.
Wait, who are
Pinky.
you talking to now? Are you talking to Charlotte or are you talking
Both
to...
of you.
Yeah.
So what I want is a stone ironclad commitment that both of you will never share me
Literally-
rapping about me.
This reminds me of the situation with Daddy and the Firestar.
Yeah, my Charlotte's granddad and my dad, as a 74-year-old man, has sung Firestarter on karaoke, which is always
Multiple
a bit weird.
times.
Multiple times. You know, is it? You know what? It's turned into his party trick now.
Yeah.
The only I need to make sure that he does it in public at least once. That would be
I mean,
amazing.
there's video footage of it, and then Soph did a reenactment of it once as well. That's
Yeah.
just public domain. It's just
Oh yeah,
yeah,
she did a
somewhere.
TikTok on it, didn't she? Yeah, that was
Yeah.
amazing. Russ, have we had show notes for today's?
Right, they're in your email.
Oh, have we?
But as
Oh,
you know,
perfect.
I was extremely busy today, and I was running a little late for recording, so I emailed them right before I logged on.
Okay, I've got the
Perfect,
show
thank you.
notes. We're good to go. We've done the preamble chat where we talk about AI, my rap. Charlotte, Raz will copy my my dress sense. And what else have we got to talk about, Charlotte? Give us a subject.
Oh, I went to the shop today.
Oh, nice. What did you get?
It was just a general shop, you know, because I needed some bits and
Did you
bobs.
get anything unusual in your shop?
Well, you know, I had to stock back up on paprika.
Paprika.
That's not
Did you
usually on my
use a
shopping
lot of
list.
paprika then?
I use a lot of paprika. It's probably my most used spice or
Is
herb.
that smoked paprika or a normal paprika?
Smoked paprika.
Smoked.
Yeah, it's my most. It's like one of the most used things in my cupboard.
I didn't realise we turned into the cooking channel. What's going on? What do you use paprika in?
Everything.
Everything,
Everything.
yeah.
Just banging some
Paprika.
paprika. Bit of cereal, paprika. Milkshake, paprika.
No, if I'm making like sweet potato fries, if I'm making chips, if I'm
Oh,
making
yes.
You know,
you know, those
you
tin
know what's good
potatoes
on
Mum taught me
sweet
to make.
potato fries? A bit of allspice. Try a
got
bit
some
of
that in the cupboard,
allspice
you know.
on sweet potato chips.
Oh,
That
very
goes
nice.
well.
But yeah, just like in my pasta with the sauce.
Paprika.
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 Yeah, I pretty
Cup
much
of tea,
use paprika at
paprika.
least once a day.
You have paprika. Have you got a paprika addiction that we need to know about? Are you? My Charlotte, and my name's Charlotte, and I'm a paprika
No, because I've got like
paprika-holic.
I've got a little group of like I don't want to say jars or jugs, but you know, like the ones that you can get herb spices.
Is it jars or jugs?
I don't know. And I can just
That's a dodgy
grab
quiz
some
show waiting to happen, isn't it? Is
jars
it
or jugs.
jars or drug? Oh, not drugs. Is it is it jars or jugs?
Yeah, but I just reach into the cupboard with my hand like fully open, scoop out these 5 different tins of stuff, and then just selectively decide which ones I actually want to use.
Do you ever mix and match?
Always...
Do you ever put some allspice with some paprika?
You know what I'm waiting for him to build near me? One of them shops where you go in and you take your own tubs
Yes,
and just
I like them shops.
to fill up what you want.
The
in your own
like
tub.
refill shops.
Yeah, the
You know
refill.
what? They're not cheap, but they're very eco-efficient. They're really
They
good.
did talk about putting one in town, but they haven't done it yet.
No, I mean the speed of progress where you are, Russ. I mean it'll be quick.
I don't
won't it? It'll
think
be,
so.
I know,
We've got
definitely
super,
within the next 20 years.
we've got super fast broadband now.
Have you?
Yeah.
Steve, powering the broadband, must be going so fast on his bike just outside your village.
Steve has
Super
hired 20
fast.
friends from the village who all lost their job.
All their now they're
Now their
doing
job is to
their
pedal.
their job is to pedal to make sure that broadband is super fast.
That's right.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
That's right.
Super fast pedaling broadband. And on that note, let's move on to the remainder of the show. Would you like to talk about Mug of the Week? What is Mug of the Week this week, Charlotte?
Mug of the week this week. Oh, I don't know. My cupboard's really high.
Right, stand up.
Right. Okay. You told me not to do it last time.
Sit down.
Come back.
Come back. We're in the middle of a podcast. What are you doing?
You told me to. It'll be this lovely Starbucks number.
Oh, you're going for Starbucks this week.
Yeah.
Mug of the Week is Starbucks. That's great.
Yeah.
And what's the article on charlottedames.com? I haven't read it on Thursday. I normally read it every week now.
That's because it didn't go up on Thursday because the website crashed.
Oh, no.
It was like 1:45 midnight, and I was sitting there trying to get in, and I couldn't get in, so I just
Oh, no.
no, because that's happened before, and it just like you just put it up at a later date because it'd be up by the next day.
Yeah.
So it went up on, I think it was either Friday or Saturday, because it was either Friday.
And what was the article about this week?
Pop culture dragons.
Pop culture dragons. And tell us a little bit about the pop culture dragons you talked about.
The one from the Never-Ending Story.
Yeah, good dragon.
one,
As of Game of Thrones.
Well, no, because see, I haven't watched the show, 1, and 2, I'm currently reading the first book.
Right.
So I don't want to spoil myself for it.
There's some good dragons in Game of Thrones. What else?
You know, I've seen Never-Ending Story. I need to read the books. Apparently, there's a book, and the one from Lord of the Rings. Which
any dragon? How about Puff the Magic Dragon?
Puff the Magic Dragon
He lives by the sea.
haunted my childhood with that one song, and therefore I shall never speak of him again.
How do you feel about Puff the Magic Dragon? Did it own your childhood, Russ?
Well, no.
What's your favourite dragon, Russ? Chasing the dragon. He just did say that. He just did say that. So we've established on this podcast that Charlotte is a paprika addict and Russell likes chasing the dragon. This is again gone really strange. So let's move on to the kindness bit. You know, this podcast is around people doing good in the world. Oh no, can I just talk about the book? Thank you for all the emails I've got about the book. They're really appreciated. Thank you for everybody who spoke to me personally about how much they've enjoyed the book. Charlotte, the Gibraltar story is going down particularly well.
The Gibraltar story?
Yeah, you've heard about the Gibraltar story, haven't
I've heard a lot of stories about Gibraltar.
Have you? What you heard about Gibraltar?
No, from when you went.
Yeah.
So you think the Gibraltar story is like, I don't know specifically which one?
It wasn't the one about the monkeys.
The one
It was the one. It was the one about the hotel. Don't spoil it, because there's people who still haven't read the book who listen to the podcast. But apparently,
the location.
The location, the Gibraltar story is going down quite well. So thank you for doing that. We have got some spare tickets left for the book launch. So if you'd like to come along and you're in the East London, Essex area in mid-Feb, you are more than welcome to come along and see us. We would love to see you and hope to see many of you celebrate the launch of the book soon. If you'd like a copy of the book, we'll put all the Amazon links and all that sort of stuff on the show notes. But we are hoping to raise bucket loads of money for St Francis Hospice, which is an amazing charity we're really proud to support. So feel free to follow the links in the show notes and get all that stuff done.
Kindness news. 14-year-old Alva girl supports hospital through kindness project. At 14 years old, Kayla Leaper of Alva, Oakland, is giving hope not only to the patients and staff at Share Medical, but she's also a light for the entire town. When she was just 9 years old, Kayla got to experience the joy of giving. She started Kayla's Kindness Project, and now at 14, she does fundraisers to provide care packages to patients at the Share Medical Clinic in her hometown of Alva. The care bags contain hygiene projects, chalk and chalkboards, even back scratchers and entertainment items like her very own Kindness Project colouring book and more. She even provides teddy bears for children being seen in the ER. With all of this, Leaper still wanted to do more. She also provided televisions for her facility. She's provided 8 televisions and also charging stations for cell phones for Gina Wilson with the Share Clinic said. There's still a few more rooms that I want to get TVs for, which I want to get that for the coming up here, Leaper said. Kayla's mum, Terry Leaper, is extremely proud of her daughter and understands her role as a mother. I can provide my input, but she certainly is the one who is the driver of the program. I'm just the driver of the car, Terry Leaper said.
Amazing stuff. My one is a small act of kindness at Carmenos Cancer Institute makes a big difference in patients' lives. This is from Michigan in the US of A. A mid-Michigan woman is sharing her superpower with cancer patients at Carmenos Cancer Institute at McLaren Greater Lansing. She doesn't want her identity revealed and wants it to be known simply as the Post-it note lady. For the last year, the Post-it note lady has been going through cancer radiation and wards and leaving positive notes all around the Cancer Institute. I have found out that it wasn't just helping me, it was helping others, a theme that we talk about quite a lot on the Kindness Project, that being kind is good for our own mental health and therefore we should do it. And so every day during my radiation, I was making them and it helped me through my surgery and the radiation. It's really interesting. I think having a positive outlook when you're unwell, I don't know if there's any medical evidence for it, but it feels like that should help recovery. What do we think?
I agree.
Because hopefully a more positive perspective then...
I think the better you feel about yourself, the quicker you heal. Maybe.
I mean, look, clearly we've got no medical professionals on this call, but instinctively, there's a lot to be learned about the mind-body connection.
There would have definitely been too if you had been a doctor, because I would have just copied you.
Well, exactly. Well, when I become a doctor, or if I ever become a doctor,
you're going to be that kind of doctor.
No, it won't be that kind of doctor. It won't be a medical doctor. But when I become a doctor, if I become a doctor, are you just going to pretend you're a doctor?
I'm just going to piggyback off your doctorate.
Exactly. There's no need for you to do anything, Raz, because you just pinch it from me, wouldn't you?
Charlotte's going to get a journalism degree. I'm practically going to be a journalist.
That is like that. It's like a magpie, Charlotte. Is a magpie. So anyway.
I mean, he's got all these shiny ninja products sitting around his house. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a magpie.
Well, he's only got about 12 sets of coffee cups on his Russ.
Now, it's only 8.
Russ, with all those ninja products, are you an honorary ninja? And if we're magpieing, can me and Charlotte become ninjas based on you being a ninja?
Oh yeah, you gotta get with a ninja picture.
The ninja picture. Is that what you're going for as a phrase? Right. Okay. Back to the Post-it note lady. She said, I found out it wasn't just helping me, it was helping others. And so every day during my radiation, I was making them the Post-its, giving them to other people with supportive messages. And it was helping me through my surgery. And then handing them out when no one was around made me feel good. She navigated the hospital with the help of nurse Katie Everson. The way she told it to me is, Katie, this isn't about me, this is about the cards. This is about the people I'm helping. Parents like Lisa White, who was undergoing radiation for breast cancer, felt inspired by the uplifting messages. The last week of radiation, I wanted to give up so badly because it hurt. Wizzy's Edge, and I just kept looking at those notes every time before I came in. I kept looking at those notes, going, 5 more days, you can do this, you can do this, you can do this. It's almost over. When the post-it note lady finished her final treatment, she asked Kate if she could still visit the hospital to drop off notes and if Iverson would distribute them. Iverson agreed and nominated her as a good neighbour. The post-it note lady makes a good neighbour because she's just doing this out of the kindness of her heart. It's not something that takes a lot of time or effort, but it means so much to so many people. I love that idea. That just leaving somebody a anonymous post-it with a positive message and helping somebody out makes absolute sense to me. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a good idea. I think it's like, as long as you can guarantee someone's going to get it and it's not going to...
It's something simple you can do to brighten up somebody else's day, isn't it?
100%.
It don't cost nothing. You can put them anywhere.
Mm.
Yeah. And the master of that, in terms of the guests we've spoken to, is Bernadette Russell. Bernadette Russell is an absolute genius. Small, tiny acts of kindness that make somebody else feel good. But we haven't got to use post-its. We've got the opportunity to say a kind word, give a smile, all of that sort of stuff. Definitely helps. Right, let's move on to the interview. We've got part 3 of our interview with Emmanuel Asuquo. Emmanuel's a great guy, known him for many years, doing loads at the minute in terms of empowering people with financial education, and I want to share more of his story. So let's listen to part 3 of the interview. And it's interesting. So I talk about this, because it hopefully it shares like an element of what like sort of true financial independence could look like.
Yeah.
I took a month off of the business this year. So in July I went traveling with my daughter. So we took a month off and just traveled around Europe. Now we didn't stay in the best hotels. We got trains and sort of boats everywhere. Actually, relatively, it wasn't a particularly expensive trip. And that would have, I could have bought some more stuff.
Yeah.
But the memories we create through doing those experiences are, I think, more valuable. And I think we need to, it's interesting, you're right. I think the clarity of where we're going is really important.
Yeah.
What are your values? Share to me a little bit about what drives you.
My biggest thing is my kids, my wife and my kids, my family. Obviously I always tell people when I was working in the city at first, my wife was my mum, being a dinner lady, meant she ended up with a limp. Because standing up so long in the kitchen, she's now had to have a knee replacement and so forth. And being able to look after her is one of my biggest achievements. Now I'm able to give her money on a monthly basis so that she can retire because she didn't have a great pension or anything like that. And those are the things that are really important to me. But I think also just about making change, because I felt actually, my parents, they could have done a lot better if I existed then. Do you know what I mean? It's like if they had me in their lives, a financial advisor like me in their lives back then, they could have made
decisions that
exactly. So I'm like, I couldn't be there for them, but I'm going to be there for others. Do you know what I mean? And I get a joy, just actually, for me, the biggest thing is legacy. I want to know when I'm gone that my son will say his name and people are like, oh, does that mean your dad was? Oh, he was amazing. My grandchildren do you know what I mean? And it means something to be in Asuquo, because of all the things that we've done in this world and the marks and the change and the effect.
Leaving a positive impact.
Yeah, because you know what? I always tell people you can't help everybody, but you can help someone. And that's big 100%. For me. That's big for me.
If you're driven by that passion, I think you're right. It's just I get why people aren't, but why wouldn't you make the world a better place, right? Exactly. That's the reality of it. So values are there, visions there, moving towards the goal, highlighting the fact that shiny stuff doesn't do much for your life. Experiences might, and memories, building memories might, stuff like that. What else? How about people who are struggling with tough times at the minute? What can we do to help them?
then I think it's about looking at having a plan. I think the biggest thing, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. I think it's one of the biggest mistakes in me. You don't have a plan for yourself, but also a plan for your money. Like, you go hard and you work hard for your money, but then you give it away so easily. You give it to your landlord, you give it to the supermarket, you give your money to everyone else, but you don't give it to yourself. And actually, one of the biggest things for me is having a plan and saying, I'm going to pay myself first. Actually, when I get paid, I'm going to make sure that before I pay everybody else, I give some of that pay to myself, and that's a big thing. So
pay yourself first is just a principle that I always have this debate with Cass, because the first thing that goes out of our business bank account is the pension contributions, and she goes, "Have we really got to pay that much?" I was like, "Yep." Yeah, we're that's part of the deal.
Yeah, exactly. No, and I think it's important. It's so important that we understand that actually it's your money. Like, you've worked hard for it, so make sure you can. And if you're struggling, like now, for example, like now it's a hard time, understand that this is a season. I think sometimes we go through hard times and we almost say, like, I've failed in life because I'm struggling. No, this is a season, and there's ups and downs. So okay, now's a down, but it's okay. You keep working, you do the right things, and up will come.
It's always a long game, isn't it? And I think part of our job, like working with our clients, is just to remind them that it's a long game.
Yeah, exactly.
I feel I've shared this on the podcast before, but when lockdown 1 that happened, I haven't told you this story, but I'm keen to. When lockdown 1 that happened, I closed the office, sent the team, like everybody was working from home, and I had 2 kids at home who were homeschooling.
Yeah.
And basically, for the first 3 months of lockdown, I spent the time on the phone to my clients going, one of my clients said, "Are you giving me the Joey Tribbiani talk?" Because I used to phone everybody and just go, "How are you doing? Are you all right? Is everything okay?" So, that was really good. But I got to the end of lockdown 1, and it's interesting, and I'm sure you find this as well. It's interesting what your kids pick up.
Yeah.
Like from you being around, and we've done like sort of hopefully I've shared a lot of my values with my kids through doing the podcasts and stuff like that. But got to the end of lockdown 1, and they'd printed out this sheet and put it on the fridge, and at the top it said Dad Bingo. Right, I was like, what are you two doing? Like, what have you been up to? And what they'd done is every time I repeated the phrase to a client that they'd heard, they'd had a tally sheet and they'd tallied it off and said, "You've done it this amount of times." And the phrase that I used the most was, "This too shall pass." Don't worry about what's happening today. As you said, it's all about the seasons, making sure that we and we're not going to panic. We're not going to make any knee-jerk reactions. We're going to stick with the plan and make sure it's okay. Yeah. But actually, a lot of the value we had as professionals is just reminding people of that, right? And just saying at the right time when it's there. But it can feel tough, and for a lot of people, it is going to be tough. But these will pass eventually.
Yeah. Exactly, and I think it's about, I think we put a lot of energy in. If we're watching, Love Island or whatever, we're in. Like, you watch Love Island, it finishes, you're on Twitter commenting about it, then you're watching other people's comments about it, then you're watching After Sun to see like all the bits then you're seeing behind the scene. But I'm like, with your finances, do you know how much it costs to be you? Not a clue. Yeah. They don't know how much, really, and it's like, actually, let's put the same energy we put into these things that aren't about us, that are entertainment, into actually us. Like, what's your most expensive direct debit? What's your cheapest direct debit? When's the last time you went through your direct debits to see what you're actually paying? How much does it cost to live your life on a monthly basis? Do you have that amount in three or six times in an account? These are questions I ask, and then I've never thought about this. And it's like, but if we were talking about, I'm a celebrity, you've watched that, you're voting, you're calling.
This is the big thing. The focus we put on distracting ourselves compared to the focus we put on going, well, if this is sorted, distract yourself all you want. Just live the life the way you want it, but actually get that in control, and it makes everything else a lot easier, right?
Exactly. It's like I go to, we all have clients that like they buy this house and it's like, I'm redoing the house, and it's like, look, you got to come to the bathroom. The rest of the house is an absolute state, but all they're going to tell you about is the bathroom. And it's like, this is what people do. They talk about the one good thing they are good with money at. Oh yeah, I'm good at saving, or But what about the rest? Like you're missing payments, you got late payments here and there, your credit's atrocious. Like, do you know, it's like
Yeah.
actually we've got to look at that, and that's what we do. That's why
picture.
people should have a
Yeah.
financial advisor. It's
I
because
agree.
we look at the bigger picture. We're not going to focus on because the people that, oh, I want an ISA. No, you can't tell me you want an ISA. It's like going to a doctor and saying I want this specific medication. You wouldn't do it. You're like,
No.
doctor, I'm sick. Tell me what I need, and the doctor's going to find about you. And it's exactly the same thing with us.
And you know what's interesting about that? It's that I've sat to clients quite a lot because naturally I'm an optimist, right? I think everything's going to work out fine. Sometimes, and I've had to like teach myself to do that. I've got to be a professional pessimist and go, look, we will look at the good stuff. We will look at getting you to a point where we achieve the plan, and we will get there because we've got a cash flow to help you work out how to achieve those goals. But let's be realistic about this instead of pretending that these issues don't occur. It's an interesting one. Now we've talked a lot about legacy, right?
Yeah.
We've talked a lot about legacy, and I've thought about this quite a lot over the past few years as well. I'm going to get a bit morbid. We're dying tomorrow.
Yeah.
What do you want your legacy to be?
My legacy to be, for me, it just has to be of just bringing love and light to the world. Like actually, my legacy is my kids, and what I hope that what they've been able to see, they carry on. So they see how selfless I am. A lot of the time, what people don't realize is I'm here helping the world. Sometimes I'm not there for my kids, and it's like having that conversation. And I personally, a lot of people, again, I don't have this hierarchy. I grew up in a Nigerian household. Parents know best and kids know nothing. And I don't believe in that at all. That's something I scrapped. I hold myself accountable. So if I haven't been around, I will sit down with and I will apologize. And I would ask them, how does it make you feel? I apologize for that. But can you this is what I'm doing. And and you know what makes me so happy is that sometimes I'll go into my kids' room and you know that they're watching like some of the stuff that I've done on TV. They could be watching anything, they could be watching their phones or whatever, but they're watching and the way that the things that they've learned just from watching me on TV, and the fact that now they feel like that is normal. When I grew up, there weren't that many black people on TV. For them to feel like this is something that's possible.
And your dad as well, seeing your dad do it.
It's your dad, you know what I mean?
Amazing.
So it's like, I just hope that my legacy is that they carry on understanding that there's more than themselves. Like actually be kind to others. Like, like now, for example, we've got where we live, we've got a lot of our neighbors are quite elderly. And so, and they've had their partners have passed away, unfortunately. So they're on their own. So when we do Christmas, like, we go and buy gifts for our neighbors, and I get my kids to go and give it to them. And if the joy and my neighbors, obviously they don't give us anything back. And my kids are always, but my kids are so happy to give that actually they understand. I'm like, how do you feel? That's the gift they're giving back to you.
Exactly.
It's the gift of actually, you've helped someone, you've made someone feel special, that's a gift in itself. It doesn't have to be a physical gift that they give back to you.
But you know what? I've written in the book that actually doing this good stuff in its way is selfish because we feel better for doing it. And I can never understand that. And again, that in part comes from, the upbringing we've had in terms of going, well, look, we surely you would help each other out because that's the right thing to do. But it's interesting, and I think the balance that I'm trying to get with my girls and everything is, yes, have a clear financial plan, yes, achieve those goals, do all that sort of stuff, but don't lose who you are and those really positive values that actually come with you. And it's amazing. I've really loved this. I've really enjoyed this, and thank you for your time and company this morning. Where can people find out a bit more about you?
Yeah, so me, Emmanuel Asuquo. So Emmanuel Asuquo, ASUQUO.com is the website. Obviously we've got the book. So if you type in Emmanuel Asuquo into Amazon, you'll be able to see the book there, and you can get your copy of the book. It's available on pre-order now. It's going to be released in February. So that's amazing.
That's got to be exciting, right?
No, it's exciting, to actually be published, to actually have a lot of people I know that have books, they've had to self-publish, and that's great. But to actually have a publisher say, listen, we love what you're doing, we love your thoughts and your way you do it. We want to pay you to write a book. When I come from having, 4 GCSEs, to someone to say, we're going to pay you to write a book, I've never been quite comfortable in writing. I've always been more of a talker. So it's been a great journey for me in itself. And to be able to get this message out to as many people as possible, it's a very proud moment. But yeah, I feel like, I'm here, I'm available on social media. The E-Man effect on social media. But again, if you type in Emmanuel Asuquo into LinkedIn or Instagram or Twitter, I'll come up. So yeah, just I'm everywhere really.
Fab. Thank you for your time today, and I'm sure our audience is going to love this conversation.
Thank you so much. Thank you for the work you're doing. Thank you for doing this, because I know how hard it is to do a podcast and be consistent. So I appreciate it even more, because it's funny how you actually, I feel like I'm very closed in who I try to attract around me, and people I actually allow to listen to what they have to say. I'm very focused into my core values. Like I have my values. I don't know a lot about pop culture and all of that type of stuff. And it's funny how, like, I've always admired you and always liked you as a person that I've seen online, and to actually hear your story and understand how similar our stories are.
It's interesting, isn't it? But you're right. I was having this conversation yesterday with somebody who, funny enough, it was a woman, so early 40s, went to one of these. I'm going to stop recording now. Hold on, let me, because Russ doesn't need to hear this. I mean, I don't mind telling him the story. So that's part 3. That was good, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And on that note, Charlotte?
'Tis the end of another podcast, but the end is never truly the end, because the end is always the beginning of something entirely new.
And that is Joke of the Week.
You're letting me do Joke of the Week?
I'm letting you do Joke of the Week.
I'm thinking of bringing back the question in the podcast.
Are you bringing back the question of the podcast, Russ?
I'm thinking about it to see.
Let's bring it back, Russ, because I like the question of the podcast.
If we get any more traction now we're sort of out in the new year.
Perfect. Let's do question of the podcast. But for now, we're doing Joke of the Week. So your Joke of the Week, Charlotte, is?
Don't use beef stew as a computer password. It's not strong enough. Like jogging off.
That was so bad it made me itch. On that note,
if you're itching, maybe you should have a shower.
I'm not.
Oh,
The joke made me itch, Charlotte, not some sort of skin condition. On that note, have a lovely day, have a lovely week, and we'll see you on the Kindness Project soon.
Bye.
Bye.